I was okay in the hotel last night with the pizza, but in a restaurant, you...
Spoon, fork, knife!
Rode up to the Whartons there, and there were the North Fork strikes of Canadian.
His hands, fork, and knife.
When it reaches the resonant frequency, the building acts like a tuning fork.
Done. Anybody got a fork?
If a fork ever touches a nut in this restaurant and I use that fork, you gotta jab an EpiPen into my chest, because I am on my way to the afterlife.
You put the fork in the fat lady, it's over.
The fork at Independence Pass.
It's like you got a tuning fork.
Yes, we did buy a zoo. Give me some fork.
Now, what's a sweet face like you doing holding your fork?
Never been a time when there was a fork in my road.
Dick, I don't think we should go by way of South Fork.
I lied. I said you are not a total fucker.
Stab me with a fork.
What have you used to keep your fork company all these years?
This fork is ice cold.
No, Dad, that's a chilled salad fork.
And you use the same cup, same fork, same plate every day.
A fork and 2 spoons.
Stick a fork, yeah.
Use the naan like a spoon.
Use the fork. You want to fork, sir?
Try.
Fork.
Yes, good.
I'll find out even if I have to carve it out your flesh with a blunt fork. So where did you get it from?
Don't you could eat the fork after your meal.
All right, fork it over, smart man.
I get to comb my hair with a fork, play with gadgets and gizmos aplenty.
Forklift and Little Meadow, and you're free of the outposts and skirmishers.
You come to a fork, you mark it with an arrow, and... No.
Go on, stand there. Take your knife and fork with you.
Oh, don't.
You have your knife and fork. You do.
Fork on the left. Knife on the right.
Hence the construction of this device, the Lazarus fork. One of my early designs for the Lazarus fork incorporated a structure that actually sucked its energy from the atmosphere. Lazarus fork.
Do you have the fork? I told you to bring a fork. This is a fork. A garden fork.
Alright, who's around with yuck? And pick his nose with the fork.
I don't want to get wounded with a fork, jerk. Isn't the river supposed to fork?
It's a fort. A fort. This thing.
A fort.
Fork. Fork, it's a fork.
Look at the way she holds. Yes, he did. With the
Cut with your knife, not your fork.
Eating in formal situations, rest your knife and your fork on the plate between mouthfuls.
Charm.
Ideal? She was stabbed 67 times with a meat fork.
It's the other fork, darling.
I like having only one fork.
Say that once more and I swear I'll ram a fork up your jacksy, Harry.
He's right, well...
Anybody got a fork?
I've ended up bashing up the waiter and stabbing the manager with a fork.
Well, look, you're not going to have to stab anyone with a fork.
Take the South Fork, then go downstream.
You put the fork here, stupid.
Eddie, the old man said turn left at the fork.
Right. She once stuck me with a fork.
There we go. There, knife and fork.
The Italian says, I want a fork. The chief says, what do you want a fork for? The Italian says, no, give me a fork. He says, we don't have a fork. He says, find me a fucking fork. The chief goes out, finds him a fork, he brings it over, hands it to him.
A woman who took a different fork in the road.
The vendor gave chase. A wooden-handled pronged fork in one hand.
Say anything about politics or the campaign or what speech you have to give or anything, I swear to God I'm going to stab you with this fork. Stop. You ought not to hold your knife and fork like that. If someone were to fall through the ceiling, they'd come down right there and be impaled on your fork. And then they would bleed out all over your eggs and ruin your breakfast.
What am I going to say? I killed the president of Paraguay with a fork.
I woke up one night, stuck a goddamn fork in my shoulder.
You did?
For a script and waited for 3 hours sitting next to a man with a fork stuck in his head.
While you're at it, why don't you use your fork instead of your finger?
That satanic pony was there as well. A massive fork in his hoof, and he turned on me.
That's the fork I knew.
shrimp fork, salad fork, dinner fork. Times. Now, 4 times dinner fork. And sometimes there are 3 times the salad fork. And sometimes...
Why does this fork go on the right?
I can't see your face is shining, and every knife, fork, and spoon, I'll have your guts for garters, understood?
I'll run this fucking fork up in your ass, I swear to God.
Chicken with a knife and a fork.
Yeah. Ain't chicken.
With a knife and a fork?
When you get to the fork in the road, you veer to the left.
I always bring him an individual piece of pie with a white plastic fork and a napkin, and I put it in a little box with string.
No, Elwood. Back on the fork.
I found a bloody fork.
Take your friend of the knife and fork.
Excuse me. This fork is dirty. This plate looks spotty.
Spectacular fork.
So fork over my money for lifting it for you, bucks ton.
If they drop a fork, you give them another one.
Rosie, use your fork, please.
She knew she'd probably stab me with a fork, but I think she's really glad you're around. You know, she thinks...
I have a fork or something.
If a cannibal used a knife and fork, would you call that progress too?
When you reach the mark at the fork, follow the trail east.
I'm out of fork.
Turn left.
Stay left of the fork, Spanner. 5 miles.
Knife, fork, sauce, A1, Luger's, but...
All right, Smells, that's 80 grand. Now fork it over.